This video is sponsored by Squarespace, so if you need a website, a domain or an online store, make your next move with Squarespace and use the discount code AndrewMarr. I have driven about 2 hours north of Perth to Nambung National Park, and I've come to the, as you can see behind me, the sand dunes. These are the sand dunes that are near Cervantes. So it's not all that hard to get to. You just drive in and there's a parking bay on the side, and then you just walk your way in. Now, I've been here before, I've done a couple of videos here before, but I wanted to come back. So the last time I was here, I had far less flies and I had very clear skies. We've had some very hot weather over summer. We've had one of the hottest Februaries for Perth on record. Oh, these flies. Guys, just give me just a bit of a break so I can talk. But this week we've had some interesting weather, and that got me thinking that I should really get out. That really inspires me to get out. And the interesting weather is weather that we don't typically get in Perth. It's tropical, more tropical weather that comes from the north. We've had it was originally a tropical cyclone, then it turned into a tropical low as it weakened, and then it went inland up around the Pilbara, but it has dumped all this rain from the Pilbara, the Gascoyne, Midwest, and even as far down as where I am at the moment. But that interesting weather is going to, one, give me some cloud, but it's also rained quite heavily here. And I thought that would be really, really terrific to see what the difference that has made to the sand here, because the sand is quite moist, quite damp. It's harder it's harder underfoot, so it's easier to walk on. But it's also given me some really interesting contrast in the colours. I can see already where there's some of the sand is dry, some of the sand is wet, and I've got that really interesting contrast, which is going to provide, more interest in the image, I think. Anyway, I'm going to keep on exploring around because I've only got around about 10 or 15 minutes left before sunset. The sun is going to set over here, but it's going to be behind some clouds, so I'm not too worried about that. We might get some colour, who knows. What I'm really interested in is getting just some cloud there and some interesting contrast in the sand. This is actually much easier to walk on because, the sand is nice and firm because it's being wet by the rains. Unfortunately, I'm finding it very difficult to find a composition. Interestingly, I saw some emu tracks back there, and I was wondering whether there was going to be any emus here, but I did actually find some. I thought it was only one or two, but then it turned out to be a group of about 5 or 6. But they're very clever, and they didn't let me get anywhere near them to be able to get any decent footage. I think I might have got a very far away shot. They were about 200-300 metres from me. Starting to run out of options. I'm starting to head back towards where I came from, simply because I'm running out of options that way. think I saw a couple here. They're just not shaped as cleanly as I was hoping. So anyway, I'll keep looking. We'll see how we go. I don't know where the light is going to end up being. This cloud is all over the place. We've got some high cloud. We've got some lower cloud that's kind of blocking some of the light. We've got a little bit of colour behind me, and then we've got some more colour behind the camera there. Some quite nice colour over to my right hand side here as well. So I'm going to try and set up somewhere along here and see whether we can get a shot. So I managed to find a nice little composition. What I've got is this snaking S curve on the top of this dune that's actually not all that big. It would only be, it wouldn't even be as high as me, but I'm getting quite low. I'm off the side of the dune, and so I've got the camera only around about half a metre off the front part of the dune, and of course then the dune just snakes its way up, and it's much higher than the camera or me. It goes quite high, but it goes off into the distance, and of course I'm shooting with the GFX 100S, and I've got the 32 to 64 on the front, so I haven't got a very, very wide shot. In fact, I'm in it over 50 mil, because I'm kind of trying to compress the scene a little bit, the dune, because I want some of the colour in the clouds that are way off into the distance to kind of come up. But there's one cloud just on the right hand side that's really bubbling up. It looks like a storm cloud way off into the distance. Looks huge, and it's just catching a little bit of that setting sun, which by the way is just setting as we speak. So there's some nice cloud in there. I've taken this shot. The settings are ISO 100, pretty obvious. F16 is my aperture because I want everything in focus. I'm not all that close to any of the sand, so I don't think I'll need to bracket this or focus stack it, sorry. And my shutter speed is half a second, but I am changing that as the light quickly fades. Anyway, I've pretty much got this one in the bag, and I'm going to quickly have a look around and see whether I can grab something else, see if something else catches my eye. I've got my drone with me, by the way, and I've had that up and helping me scout out a few spots. The sand dunes just look absolutely amazing from the top. They really look spectacular. So I'll show you some of the footage there, see whether I can find another composition. I want to be pointing that way because there's some pretty cool colour that way. Done. So I've just got another one. The light is changing all the time, and I'm running around a little bit frantic at the moment trying to find some compositions, but I was just at the top of that dune just behind me and kind of looking down on the ridge that I'm walking along at the moment, and yeah, it was really nice. So I just saw this ridge just at the background of my previous shot, and I was just wondering whether it curved around more towards the colour in the sky. It's the only colour that's remaining. Oh, where the sun set. But it's not. The closer I get to it, I can see that it's kind of just wandering off to the right-hand side. I really need something bending round to the left. Well, I hope this vlog makes sense. What's difficult about finding a good composition is that the area is so vast. And then you can see a ridge like this one just here behind me, just there. And you think, that looks great from the side. I'll do all the walking right round so I'm not climbing up into the sand that's going to be in the image, so I'm not leaving footsteps. So I'm going all the way around, and it ends up not being as, the line is not as distinct as it is if I'm looking from the side. And so, it's a bit of a disappointment. And then I pick up my camera, turn around, and bang, there's a composition right in front of me, pointing in the opposite direction, and I wasn't intending to use that as a composition, but that's happened to me a few times as well. Look, there's a little bit of remaining light. I'll see what I can get in terms of another composition. Before I share another image, I'd like to quickly thank Squarespace for sponsoring the video. Before I had a YouTube channel, I built a website to share my photography using Squarespace. 8 years later, and I'm still using Squarespace because the clean and simple look of their templates help make my images look great. And it's so quick to make updates to the site using desktop or mobile. When you want to add a page, Squarespace makes the process very easy by providing layouts that you can choose from to get you started, and lets you drag and drop content around the page wherever you want it. There's no need for any coding. They take care of everything else like platform updates, security, and hosting. If you ever do need some help, you can use their 24/7 award-winning customer service. So head on over to squarespace.com for a free trial. That'll give you heaps of time to get your website set up. And then when you're ready to launch, make sure you go to squarespace.com/Andrew Marr to get 10% off your first purchase. All right, well, that was frantic to say the least. The majority of the colour has disappeared. I didn't end up getting another shot from that end. I did turn around, and lo and behold, there was another composition behind me. So I've just taken that, but my shutter speed is up around 10 seconds now, and my aperture is f20. The foreground in this shot felt a little unbalanced, so I cropped it with a 1:3 aspect ratio for a more balanced feel, and to make these sand dunes more of a feature. It's funny because you spend a little bit more time here, and your eye, I think, starts to tune into the compositions. So I think that's what I've learned from this little visit. As I said, it's been a while since I've been to the sand dunes up here. I think it's probably 2 years, maybe even 3 years. So it's been a while, and I was just trying to time it with some interesting weather, and I've certainly got some interesting cloud. I've had some light to the west, I've had light to the north, and I've had light out to the south as well. So certainly can't complain. Anyway, I've just realised that throughout all of that, I didn't have the little muff on the microphone, so I'm hoping that the wind didn't interrupt the audio too much or make it too hard to listen to. I do apologise for that. When I started off, there was absolutely no wind whatsoever. It's only once I've got up the top here that there's been a little bit of wind. I'm going to pack up and head back to the car. I'm going to see whether I can find somewhere to camp, I think, and then I might come out here tomorrow morning, and that might just give me a little bit more time in the morning, and yeah, I might get another image that way. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, if you enjoyed this or the images that I shared, please hit the like button. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.